I remember I had me and my brother had a band, and this was before they had a name. And some fella goes, "Do you know Coldplay?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You should have called yourselves Hot Play." He's like, never spoke to him again.
Podcast. Hello, and you're very welcome back to the podcast, the show where I have a new guest on each week. However, sometimes we have recurring guests, such as our resident virgin Ryan Carrick. But of course, we're rejoined again by this week by our resident funny man. I know Ryan Carrick is of course a resident funny man as well. But Meditations of the Anxious Mind. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I see you changed my name there. Meditations of the Anxious Mind. So already we're not off to the best start. But I love this mug you gave me last time.
Hey, look, actually. Hey, meditations for the anxious mind. Apologies. I feel like I'm talking to a higher being because I think it's the ambiguity of not, or I like the kind of ambiguous aura of not mentioning your name. But I also sound like I am like talking to some form of royalty or some.
You might be talking to a higher being. I don't know how low you are. But my mom, and I want to ask you a serious question before we start, because I know how serious we both are about everything, you know. But my mom wanted to know, do I get a free mug every time I come on? Because she keeps robbing this one, and you'll actually see there's coffee stains. Can you see that?
I can't really.
Yeah, that's because I hid the dirty side of the mug over. You can.
Oh, I can see that. I can see it there.
I did something disgusting today. I put do you know, like a tea cake?
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm starting off with this quality content you get from me.
You don't. You should never start off with "I put a tea cake" and then
anyway,
and then just leave it there before you go to the store. Because in my head, I'm wondering, where's this tea cake going?
It's like someone with PTSD. They're just rocking back and forth. I put a tea cake. We put a tea cake.
Go on. What's
so we put a tea cake in. We've got a coffee machine where I'm from, and
wow,
I put a tea cake in the cup and just watched it melt. And for some reason, it didn't make me feel good about myself.
You put a tea cake in the tea?
Well, it was coffee, and it still is, but yeah.
But you put I'm not. It doesn't really matter the liquid. It's just you put it in the tea and watch it melt.
And you know what it was? A good friend of mine, he has a coffee shop. I'm going to give them a shout out. They don't know I'm doing this, but their coffee shop's name is Doppelganger Coffee in Finglas Shopping Centre. And I saw them putting orange twirl in a coffee, and I said nothing. I remained completely silent about it, but I was like in my head, I'm going to do that someday. And I did it, and it wasn't great. Like the one I had wasn't great, but they have
the tea cake, was it?
I didn't use the twirl. I used the tea cake, and it was different. And there was bits of marshmallow in it, and it just it was. You weren't expecting to swallow marshmallow.
Like it's not like it's like going into an Italian restaurant and seeing someone make spaghetti and going, "I'm going to do that one day," and then going home and fucking making a pizza or something. That's like just not the same.
No, it's not the same at all. They have great coffee there. Actually, everyone should go check them out.
I meant to make my coffee before this, and I also have. I don't have a coffee machine. I have an espresso machine.
Ooh.
I know. And say what you want about Kimmage. We have.
Can I drink this?
Yeah, you can. I mean, I'm not sponsored by any other coffee brand.
No.
Or I'm certainly not sponsored by any tea cake brands either. I'm not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anyone. Actually, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm not sponsored by anyone. But I made a coffee this morning, and I popped my little espresso shot into the thing and made the coffee. That was grand. But I was in a bit of a rush to get everything sort of for the podcast, so I ran downstairs to remake the coffee. And we have like the foamer and the espresso machine. And put my milk in the foamer and whatever magic.
Daffy Duck.
Yeah, well, Daffy Duck comes out and fucking foams it for you when you're not looking. And then, but I forgot to put the a new shot of espresso in. So I pressed the espresso machine and it just used the old capsule So it's just, there's no real taste of coffee,
Just water.
and it's just water mixed with foamy milk, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Do you wanna wait? I can wait here and just entertain myself and whoever else is watching this in the future. You can go get a coffee if you like, you know.
You say that like I question, after you mentioning where you put a tea cake, but being quite ambiguous about that. I'm now wondering what you mean by entertaining yourself.
Yeah, you just don't know what I'd say when like I'm the only one here in the room.
I'm actually no, I've water, so all is good. But man, how have you been? You joined up. You were on the podcast about, was it 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
February, or it was end of January, I believe, is when you were on. And you know, the last time you were on the podcast, and you know, you'd start to like, you know, take off, and I guess you start to really blow up in the Irish, both the Irish comedy scene and also the Irish meditation scene, I guess you put out there. And we were talking about last time, you know, oh, you were close to 10,000 followers, which was, you know, a pretty big milestone. And now, man, you're on 31.4, I believe. Like, it's really just shot you in the roof. How's the last couple of months been since you were on the show?
Yeah, they've been great, and it's nothing to do with me. It's all thanks to this show. But it's
I
really
didn't have that many followers, but it actually is thanks.
yeah. Something happened. But yeah, I've been really good. I've really been enjoying making the page. It's kind of changed me in a way that like now I'll be kind of going about my day-to-day business, and I'm constantly thinking of, oh, that's funny, that's not funny. Oh yeah, I could talk about that. No, nobody's going to understand why that's funny. You know, like, it's kind of, you just go into that kind of way of thinking. But I've been the same with, like I was saying to you, I think last time, like I'm a musician as well. I actually have my guitar right here, but I have it in my room, and I haven't played it for about 2 months, so I don't know if you can actually call me a musician anymore. But I had I'm the same with that, where I've always been like the type of person where if I'm creating something, I'm doing it every day. Like with the, I wouldn't even call it, like you said, the comedy scene. I feel like a bit of a fraud, because I've never like, I started doing all this like actually a year ago, from a few days ago, and so I've never actually got the opportunity to do any live stuff yet, but it's been good though. You know, I'm kind of used to it, and it feels like just a number, but like, it's really nice to see that people are enjoying it, you know, and it makes me happy that people seem to get a kick out of it, because I enjoy making the videos. You know, and I get away with a lot. Like, nobody's really gotten offended, and maybe that's because they don't give a fuck, but I think you kind of set up your stall, and people kind of know what to expect, which is good.
No one in Kimmage has, since myself, but has anyone, since you've grown more, anyone in Kimmage sent any angry worded messages or anything?
I got a video message off some guy from Kimmage, and he started speaking backwards, and he was going like, but he was a nice guy. I was actually supposed to do an interview with him, but like, Instagram DMs are the worst fucking thing in the world, because they're so messy. They're just, you'll forget who you're talking to, and then you'll get other messages, and then that person never actually existed because he was from Kimmage.
Yeah, I wouldn't get as many Instagram. I don't know about you. I wouldn't get as many Instagram DMs as you. Maybe the odd one. But do you ever get like invited into those like random group chats, and it's clearly just like bots?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, I obviously sign up to it because it's the only form of affection I get from it. And I'm actually down like $6,000, but it's kind of been worth it. But I was wondering, do you ever get invited into any of those group chats? Sometimes
I've often talked to like a bot on the internet, knowing that they're a bot, but just seeing if they can surprise me either way. You know, just like.
Do you ever actually? I don't know if you remember. I don't know if anyone remembers. You definitely do. People certainly in my age bracket would, and I say my age bracket. We're in the same age bracket. I'm 20. But like,
what age are you, Posh?
I'm 25. You're 23.
Same here, yeah.
You're 25 as well.
No, 25. I put up. Oh, sorry. I won't interrupt you. Sorry. You go ahead with what you're saying, and I'll say my thing after.
Well, like, yeah, so exactly. So we're not only in the same age bracket, we're the same age. But
Yeah.
when you were younger, I used to always go on my like mom or dad's computer and sign into like mini games, or X Games, I think it was, and it was like these websites where you could play all these online games and like, you know, Club Penguin, and which is probably one of the biggest cult classics, I guess. But there used to be games where you could go on and talk to a robot, and like they'd reply back. It was like this anime game, and I remember I'd go on, which is kind of sad now in hindsight, but I would only be going on just to see what they'd say back, and I'd always be like, ha, what's fucking wrong with you? And then they'd be like, please do not use that language. And then I'd be like, ha, fucking make me stop thinking I'm this really bad lad. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe that explains a lot of why I had no friends.
I had a really similar thing. I used to I had a guitar teacher out in Castleknock. Great guitar teacher, and he had this like really shitty old computer. He had like his actually, this sounds really dark, but it's not meant to be. His guitar lessons were taught in a shed. It was like a reconverted shed, and he had this like this cold, damp room. And it was
the guitar lesson went on for 2 years. He just kind of took me off. Yeah, I didn't even know I was getting. I didn't know I was getting guitar lessons.
Yeah.
And when I came out of the lesson 2 years
all
ago,
I know is he just had pictures of Jimi Hendrix on the wall.
And my mom was crying when I came out of the guitar lesson, as if like I got missing or something. But I learned loads, so it's okay.
Yeah. You know what he said? He said, "Don't worry, we'll take Frankie from here. We'll make you proud." And then the last thing I remember of my mother was her going like this, reaching for me, going, "Frankie." But I had anyway, so back to the story. We were in me and my twin and my younger brother, we went to this fella for guitar lessons, and he had this little damp room off the side, which was he had like a Windows 1999 or something. It was like really like, it's probably £70, like one of those really chunky computers, you know, those ones that yeah, I remember going on that and playing. Was there a thing called Free Games Online?
Yeah,
that was so many different ones. Yeah, it took so long to actually. By the time I turned it on and I started playing, it was my turn to go on for a lesson. Like the half hour was up, and so I wonder, like, if that was where technology stayed at, we'd probably live in a much healthier society, because people like, you know, you're in college. You're in college, are you?
I'm graduating, man. I'm graduating like 3 years now.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. But like I'm in college at the moment, and like you see people who, you know, they don't on the group chats, which, you know, whatever, I'm on the group chats, I probably shouldn't be because they wreck my head, but you see people kind of going, like the day of the thing is due, they're going, "Oh, can I ask for an extension because I have anxiety?" It's like you're kind of supposed to have anxiety, you know? It's a human response to stress, like, and it's like this instant gratification is, you know, maybe if they went to my guitar lessons and they had to sit there and wait for 2 years, like you were talking about, for the computer to turn on, they'd probably just be a lot happier. And I'm not aiming that in anyone in particular, or it could be, but I'm not going to say it here. But you know what I mean? It's just it's one of those things that instant gratification, the way things have accelerated so much now, obviously you see the detrimental effects of it.
Yeah, I'd love to see how much more productive and proactive I'd be, because I'm a very like energetic person, and I love being like doing things. And yes, like I can get like stuck in a rut, and like I could watch like a series. I could easily binge watch a series in one day. But if I didn't have access, but I always have to be doing something. Like I wouldn't be able to sit there without fidgeting. And I do go into daydreams sometimes, and like I could spend hours like in my own head. But if I had like, I'd love to know what I'd be like if I didn't have the access to the internet that we all have now. Or I was actually talking about this last week with Tebby Rex, the dinosaur, as you
I was gonna say, with what? With who?
And the lads are doing incredible, but I was telling them that I always wonder how how kind of much more I would progress with music and stuff if I kind of stuck to it. Whereas, because I was quite good as a child, growing up, whereas, you know, now the internet, but then like it's also given me other opportunities too, and I guess there's definite benefits to having such quick access to internet, and such fast information, and you see that in the likes of, you know, I guess social justice movements. And they're no longer really, and I think the perfect example is you know, Black Lives Matter, and what happened with George Floyd set off like a ripple effect all over the world, and it's because of obviously that access to communication with everyone around the world, and that access to internet, and being able to know what's happening everywhere in the world straight away as it happens, as opposed to it having to be filtered through maybe your mainstream media that would have been through television or newspaper. It's, if something happens, you can know about it straight away. Like the Suez Canal is a perfect example, which is probably one of the funniest fucking things ever, that how they manage to get themselves stuck sideways and block off the trade.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I saw something. I was listening to a podcast, David McWilliams, and I think I could be wrong here, but they said that there's an estimate that like for every day it was blocked, they lost 8 billion in trade. There was 8 billion lost in trade because ships couldn't move because this big bollocks was just in the fucking middle of the way. But yeah,
definitely like there's definitely benefits to it. People all my life have been asking me, do I have ADD? And I actually don't, but you know, that can be a symptom of that, like, you know, where I do get like distracted really easily, and what you were talking about as well I could really relate to, because you know, I just get excited by something new and then I'll leave the old thing I'm doing. So really, you know, what's been good about this page is that I've been able to stick to it, and you know, I kind of got to the point where it sort of is writing itself, because I kind of know what the character would say. Or I mean, I know what I would say. Oops.
But like you've had like some iconic videos, you know, Ancient Mysteries Explained, such as The Immersion, Who's Your Man, Sunny D. What else is there? Oh, the Purple Snack Bar was a personal favorite. Copper's Bookfast, and more recently, and I saw this, I think it was yesterday, which I thought was brilliant, was the middle island landing.
Oh yeah. Like that one. Who's Your Man? Sometimes the ones that I think, I don't know if you ever get this, because I know you make great videos, and like, do you ever get that feeling where you're like, okay, this is funny to me, but nobody else is going to find this funny, and then you put it up, and those are the ones sometimes that actually end up doing well?
I think I'm the opposite. I always think it's going to be funny to everyone else. Then I put it up and it just doesn't do well.
Yeah, I do that too, yeah.
And then I'm just really disappointed, and then I slip into deep depression, and I turn off all my lights, I don't talk to anyone, and I don't eat, and it's a...
Or you just like hoard Easter eggs, and that's the reason why I actually looked for Easter eggs the other day. There's none left. Everyone's just eating them because they're depressed.
We've fucking loads in this house. We've loads in this house. Yeah, one of my roommates' mum dropped up loads of an Easter egg for all of us, and then my other roommate's brother gave an Easter egg to all of us, and then I had to do a few photos for work involving Easter eggs, so I had bought a few that were in the house, so we were literally Easter egg mad. We're hoarders, we're Easter hoarders. But the funny thing is, like, I know I was joking there about the whole kind of, and you know, I think the video is, I put it up, I think it's funny, and it's not, and then I get really sad. But genuinely, while I completely over exaggerated that, but that actually is the case, which is quite sad when you talk about instant gratification. Like, I do, if it doesn't do well, and like the one thing that I find, and I'm really struggling, but being more conscious of trying to do, is not compare myself to other videos or other people or other creators, because if you do that, that's just not going to help you at all. You can never progress if you're constantly just looking at other people and comparing yourself to them. But I find it more and more difficult to do. Are you the same with your videos now that you've kind of grown? Do you find it difficult to not compare yourself to other people who make, whether they be sketches or whatever it might be on Instagram or...
There's definitely I think the whole human experience is to compare yourself to others. What do we do on a fundamental level? You know, we compare, we judge, we complain, you know, like all this stuff is things that we do, and then our second thought is to catch ourselves out and going, hold on a sec, you know, that, and I think there's kind of a, if you looked at it on a deeper level, you know, it's part of the Irish psyche to be like that, you know, low self-esteem, you know, we judge ourselves based on others, and I'm 100%, I'm guilty of that as well, you know, and it's something that I've definitely gotten better at. But you know,
you've gotten better at judging people. Like,
I just fucking hate everyone now, and
my insults are just so much stronger and so much better.
yeah, just so much better. But like, I think it's that kind of part of everyone who kind of makes things online, or anyone who makes anything, anyone who's creative, is that there's that underside of it, isn't there? There's the dark side where you're like, I should be doing better, or why are they doing better than me? You know, but really it's like underneath it all, like, even like there's people who I see, obviously, like, I don't like everything I see on Instagram and anywhere. Like, I hate everyone, but no, but you know, you have to appreciate that, you know, when like, it takes a lot of balls basically to put yourself out there. Like with me, I was talking to my friend Sean, and when I had like 20 followers, and I was so up in my head about it. I was like, fuck, what the fuck? Did you ever get that? I made the page and I was like, what the fuck have I just done? Why did I do this? Because I was so like, fuck, people, like, because people in the early days, people didn't really know if it was a joke or not. I got about 10 messages off people. I got a message off someone being like, I think I said it to you, like, is this mindfulness? You know, like, and this person was an intelligent person, you know, and anyway, or we won't go there, but yeah, he was, so there's loads of people like who didn't know it was a joke, and then I was talking to a few people about it, and that was kind of, I started to find it funny that people didn't know it was a joke. But how it started out was, I saw so many, and now my head is like a sieve, so I probably said this all before, and you have to pretend you're hearing it for the first time. So here we go. Let me just get the script here. But you know, I basically when I started out, yeah, like people didn't know. People thought that the reason I really did it was because I see so many people who are narcissistic and they use spirituality to hide behind their narcissism, and I thought that was funny. Like at the time, and I still do. but you know, it was yeah. So that's how it started. I thought it was funny that nobody thought about, as far as I'm aware, nobody I saw kind of thought about cornering that market.
When you say narcissistic, like, you know, they love themselves and they use kind of being spiritual and being kind of I guess one with the body and mind as an excuse to portray their narcissism online, is it?
Yeah, and actually, just as you were saying that, it made me think they're using their narcissism to project their spirituality or whatever. But really, in a way, am I not doing the exact same thing? I'm just pretending. So really, they're the honest ones, and I'm just being narcissistic in another way, in a way where I'm not honest enough to accept it.
I'm gonna have to charge you. This is like a fucking therapy session. Have you gotten any like recognition? Because, like, as I said, you've grown so much in the last while. So like are you able to go outside? You know, are people there? Is the paparazzi there?
I haven't got a huge amount, but I haven't really been, like, I haven't been in the city centre. There was one guy, Damien is his name, and you know, he was kind enough to give me a microphone, you know, and I just like to say thanks to him on here. But he gave me a microphone just out of just to be sound, just because he liked what I did. You know, he didn't ask for anything in return at all. You know, and so I've seen a lot of goodness in people from this page, and I think it's good that in these times that, you know, everything seems so bleak. But really, at the end of the day, like, I just don't give a fuck. No, sorry, I just had to not make it too serious there.
But I think that was just such a complete like U-turn. You recognize, and then you were thanking someone for like being very generous, and then just out of nowhere. But I mean, like Damien, if you're out there, I'd take, you know, my mic's gone to shit.
Do we have the same mic, Podge?
What's yours? Yeah, we do. Yeah, the Yeti.
Oh, good.
Yours is
I meant
better.
to ask you as well. So I just started up TikTok. Like I had it for a while, but I didn't really use it. If anyone wants to, do you follow someone on TikTok or?
Yeah. You follow me.
Anyway,
What else
yeah,
would you-
meditations for the anxious. Sorry,
What else would you do?
I don't know. Like
You can kiss me on TikTok at meditation.
yeah, give us a wash or something. But Meditations for the Anxious is the name on TikTok. I couldn't get the full name in because it doesn't let you.
Yeah, it's a short name, innit?
Yeah. But what? Because you're a professional with TikTok. What's the story with everyone on the live stream on TikTok? Why do they're all either like 14 years old or they're like on the brink of death? Have you ever noticed that?
Is this
like,
like
why is...
when you're scrolling through your For You page and they just randomly come up that someone's on a live?
Yeah.
I
Why
don't
do
know.
they always look like they're about to die?
I don't know what it is. I actually I don't use TikTok at all anymore. I just don't have the time really. Again, like, you know, full-time job. I do enjoy doing stuff with the podcast.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I do want to enjoy my life a bit. You know, we're living in bleak times, so we need social interaction. We need a release, and certainly TikTok is not my release.
Yeah.
But I do know every now and again when I do go on TikTok, I might scroll to the For You page. For me, it's different. For me, it's always some like I remember one day it was some really he looked quite rough, and his accent was so thick. He was from the inner city, I think. I certainly grew up there. That's where his accent kind of portrayed where he's from. And he was there, and he had a mullet, and I'm pretty sure he was still on a session. It was 2 p.m. in the day, so he was probably rolling over.
Oh God,
a pretty heavy session too, because he just kept doing push-ups and then getting up and going, and then he'd be sitting there, and like there'd be serious heavy techno in the background, and he'd be like, and someone would write in, be like, you know, and then he'd be like, yeah, mate, fucking yeah, yup. And I remember thinking, like, it's 2 of the day, and the predominant users of TikTok are also 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
You're here definitely on stuff. And the reason I know he was still in a session was not only for his like facial movements and how absolutely hyped he was for 2 p.m. on a fucking Wednesday, but it was the curtains were all closed.
Oh yeah.
And there was cans everywhere, so like he clearly saw the sun come up.
He had the dirt under his fingernails from the night before.
Yeah, and like he saw the sun come up and said, "Not today, son," and then closed the door. Yeah, that's what
I think it could be. I don't follow anyone on TikTok, so maybe it's that as well. Like, there's no one I follow. Maybe if I started following people, it'd be different. But
no, because it's random people. Like I certainly wasn't following that gentleman.
Yeah.
Or other people that come up for me if I'm scrolling through are girls. Now I don't go into the lives, but like they come on the For You page, and it's just girls who are lying on their bed, but they're lying in a position where, like, I think it's to give, like, you know, they're lying on their stomach. So it's to give you like a kind of view of the back.
Panoramic.
Yeah, kind of a panoramic view is the best way to put it. And I just don't understand. And then, like, you know, you get other people who you were following who are on a live that come up, and that's natural enough. But sometimes it's just really weird, the people who come up.
I just don't get TikTok at all. Just somebody recommended that. You know, someone recommended I go onto it and I just kind of put videos up and see the thing, and I've never really been grabbed by anything on it, like as in like the live streams or anything like that, you know, other than your videos.
Thanks, man. You saved yourself just there.
Yeah.
Do you feel pressure? Like you said you didn't really use it. Do you now, because the page is growing, do you feel almost pressure to create content and to get on all these different social platforms? Because I know for some people that's sort of it almost hinders their creative, I guess, output. And certainly their love for it, because there's now pressure to continuously and consecutively put out this content.
I feel you know, I feel good about it because it's a challenge, but at the same time, the only thing that I'd feel pressure about or I kind of worry about is what if I run out of things to say. But then, you know, like a lot of the time, I found out from doing it that you can kind of talk about anything, like, and if you kind of like, it doesn't have to be a funny topic to talk about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing intrinsically funny about snack bars.
Yeah, or the immersion, like it's just an
yeah. So I think in that way it's good that, like, I suppose that I can, things just exist out there, and I can just start talking about them. I don't have to come up with it.
What's your best video? What's been your best video to date?
The one I like the most.
Well, what's the one you like the most? What's been the best like video in terms of reaction? Do you know?
My gay spar video was the best reaction. People really seem to like that. What's my favourite one? God, that's a good question. Every single new one I have, I like to think it's the best one I've done, and then I'm like, look back on it in 2 days, I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Gay Spar got 8,000 over 8,000 likes.
Yeah. Oh, can you see that there?
I have it. Yeah, I have the screen in front of me. I've double screen. I've upgraded.
Oh, it's nice to know that you're off doing your own thing while we're having a conversation here.
I've actually answered emails while you're talking. I just keep put my mic on mute and like.
You and Ryan Carrick are talking to each other there. He was saying he's jealous of me that I'm the new co-host now.
He's jealous that you've lost your virginity and he hasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he's actually. I'm recording with him. So this episode of the podcast will be coming out next Friday. And then I'm recording another episode after work later on this evening with Ryan. I don't know why, but we're talking about Easter eggs just because Easter is this week. And, you know, you talk about running out of things to talk about, and I'm slowly getting there. So we're talking about Easter eggs. So I'll have to inform him later on of his new title, which I don't think anyone would be happy about. And maybe I might just ask him what title would he like, because you know, I don't like to give people labels. Very progressive.
That was Ryan's gas. I remember seeing Ryan's video. What was it? I think it was that one actually about he was dressed up in a towel, and he was like in someone's house. And I remember seeing that video, like, or one of his videos anyway, like a year ago, like before I started the page. And I always thought he was gas. And then I actually saw him in town. It was right after I put out that video. I don't know if you saw. It was that video where 2 people are making small talk on Grafton Street. I don't know if you saw, but no. Like the day after I put that out, I had the exact same experience with Ryan. And I was like, oh, it was Christmas. I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, just doing a bit of shopping. And I was like, oh, really? Yeah. He's like, yeah, it has to be done. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. All right, I'll talk to you later, man. So I was like, exactly like the video, but he, yeah, really, I always thought he was funny. So I was a bit starstruck when I saw him at that time because he recognised me. And I was like, he was actually the first person. So
such awkward conversation as well. Oh, it's funny because you know someone.
But I appreciate how awkward it was because I don't think we would have had it any other way. So I think it was good to have an awkward one. But you might be one of the busiest, because how many podcasts do you do a week?
I act like I do 5 and I do 1.
Really, yeah.
I let on that I do. I know, yeah, I do 1 a week, and to be fair to Shane, you know, I just talk and then Shane does all the editing. But then the video as well is edited in, which isn't too bad. The only thing is, Ryan, as of recently, we've been doing the videos, and we've kind of reacting to different things and like sharing screens. So that just takes a lot more work as opposed to just, you know, like, what do you use to edit your videos?
I use an app called Video Leap.
Okay, so like
really good.
But you know yourself, like the more detail or the more you have to put in, obviously the longer it takes. Whereas typically when it's, you know, other guests like yourself, or Tebby Rex last week, for example, it's just, I just have to sync up the audio with the visual and it doesn't take as long. But with with Ryan, because we start like reacting to things, it can take a little more time. So I want to do one
You
video.
must do that the next time, actually, reacting to things.
Yeah, I was actually going to.
I'm not jealous or anything, it's fine.
You have to come on the podcast 3 times to do that.
Oh, okay.
So the first time you have to come on, then like, you know, I have to like you. Then the second time you come on, and we have to be able to hold a conversation, which you'll be doing fantastically.
Well, at least I know you like me.
Yeah, at least that's all that matters. But I was going, and it's funny because I was like, I'm trying to just in general, more for like my own life benefits, be a bit more in tune with what's happening in the world in terms of news, in terms of updates, because I do feel that often I am not as educated or as what's the word? What would be the word?
Kind of aligned with it, or not aligned.
Yeah, up to date. Sorry, up to date. I'm not up to date, or as like educated in certain, like, you know, topical discussions. So I've been trying to keep up to a little bit more of what's going on in the news. And before he came on to the podcast, I just find the news so funny, because the way they just have everything is gas. Like, so I was on like the Irish Times, and I just have it here, and it was, you know, celebrated architect John Mayer dies, age 73. Gardaí sends 2 handguns found in Cork building site for ballistic and forensic tests. Want to see the sky in April? Venus and Mercury to production. We're going down to bare bones. Relief for Forta Wildfire Park to reopen in April. Like, I just find the news so funny because
it's so schizophrenic like that.
So yeah. But yeah, next time you come on, we must do a reaction to something.
Yeah.
However, last time you were on the show, Frankie, you did do an excerpt from what was the
so what it was I used to work as a night porter in a hotel that shall remain unnamed.
But did we give we gave it a name, didn't we? Did we give it a name last time?
Let's see, Frankalicious. I don't know. I don't think we did we?
I think we did, and then I thought it was the name already done by a book that was written by a doctor about his experiences as a doctor, and then I realized I got the names completely wrong.
Oh, we did. I can't remember what it was.
What was the name? Hold on, Shane, can you pause this? I'm just going to quickly look on my phone and see if I can.
Was it Confessions of something?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant what was the name of the hotel. I was like, shit, I can't really tell you that.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, thanks, Shane. Fair play to you.
We don't actually cut that out. We keep that in. Confessions of a Night Porter from Meditations for the Anxious Mind. Well, like, is the book gonna be your actual name, or is it gonna be? I
haven't thought about it yet. I'll probably come up with a pseudonym. Okay, pseudonym or pseudonym? Who gives a fuck?
Hold on. Pseudonym.
Pseudonym, yeah.
Pseudonym, fictitious name, especially used by an author. Yeah, pseudonym. You're gonna have like, it's gonna be like, you know, when you have like loads of passwords and you can't remember which one you're using.
I don't have one passport. I've lost my passport. I actually need to get a new one. I was only thinking about that in the shower this morning.
Password.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, you have loads of passwords and it's tough to remember which one is which. Yeah. That's going to be you by the end of like your career, because you're going to have pseudonyms for books, for online content. You won't know which is which.
And everything's going to become an algorithm, and I'm just going to be trapped in a room full of like passwords on the wall, and I have to guess the right one, and I'm not allowed out until I just have like a really long beard. Something like that would obviously happen to me.
What? But back to Confessions of a Night Porter. You're going to read an excerpt from Confessions of the Night Porter, which I hope people who listen to the last podcast, if you haven't listened, you can go back and listen to it through the podcast on any streaming service or whatever you're doing to listen to it now. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, you can just go back to the previous episode with Frankie. But Frankie, you're going to give us another excerpt from Confessions of a Night Porter.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm not sure if this is the one I spoke about last time, but I'll just go and you stop me if it is, okay?
Okay.
Saturday, February 9th, 10:48 p.m. Jan bursts into the changing room and catches me in half my uniform once again. I need you straight away. Absolutely urgent, you start this second. I need you in the function room to keep an eye on the wedding crowd. Now! He exclaims. Do you really need me now? Because if you wait 30 seconds, I'll be fully dressed and no one will be disappointed in me. He looks at me half in amusement and half with disdain. Why did the parents never beat you as a child? He inquires. I think disdain was the bigger half. I smile and attempt to wink at him, unsure of which eye I'm going to use, so I use both by mistake, making it look like a really long blink, and therefore meaningless. Jan scurries away like a rat in a sewer with a flashlight in his mouth. I wander into the function room, fully clothed and half-hearted. I glance around the room, dumbstruck. I'm unsure if it's a somber wedding or a happy funeral. There are 137 people in the function room. 73 are up dancing, 63 are sitting at their tables. Yet I've been fixated on one middle-aged woman with dirty fingernails and flip-flops who's been standing in no man's land in between the two groups, unsure of which side to pick. I watch her internal dilemma unfold with a Sorry, I say that line again. I watch her internal dilemma unfold with a tinge of sadistic delight. Either side she picks is going to feel slightly wrong, and there's nothing she can do about it. I'm awoken from peering into her self-inflicted purgatory, and mine, with a jolt from Jimmy, the other night porter, punching me hard in the arm. Mate, I've been calling you on the walkie-talkie for 10 minutes. Get the mop out. Someone got sick in the lobby. That's it. I wasn't sure if I read that one already.
Such an abrupt ending. I thought there was more. You put the phone down and just look at me. No, you have not read that one before.
I put the phone down, like, laugh.
That was great. That was.
Thanks, man.
No problem. That was. How many of those do you have?
I have 53 or 48 or something like that. So I've enough there. Like, my only thing is I'm gonna bind it together and then I'm just gonna release it, I think, or just sell them. I'll get people to give me their address and I'll come over to their house and start banging on the window. I might come there and see if I can, like, sell them a mattress or, like, see what else I have lying around, just to, you know. And it's not even because I need the money, because I don't. I just, sometimes you want to see if you're a good salesman.
What the fuck, man? Where the fuck did that go? That was brilliant, though. That was really, really funny. I tell you, you should do an audiobook. You're actually quite endearing to listen to. Like, you're quite I felt very engaged and kind of encapsulated by your words. Of course.
Yeah, I am very engaging.
You're also very modest too, apparently. It's funny, as Irish people, and, like, you know, you talk to us all the time, and yeah, there's always a happy medium between I guess confidence and arrogance. But as Irish people, we hate to in any way say that we're good at something, and then if we do, the other side of us as Irish people, the other people, like to go, oh yeah, you're very full of yourself. So, like, you could be like, yeah, I'm actually quite a good storyteller. Oh, you're a good story. Oh, good. Oh, like, I'm quite creative. Oh, look at me, I make music. You prick.
I went against that whole thing to the point where I was the other extreme, where, you know, even in school I take the piss out of myself, you know, because I felt like, you know, I was always the class clown in school or whatever, but I felt like if I took the piss out of myself, no one would think I was big-headed. And I was doing that to protect them from realising how big-headed I truly was.
Oh, and like, are you big? Like, do you love yourself? Would you be like?
No, I'm only joking. I wouldn't consider myself big-headed at all. I'm small-headed.
I fucking knew that was coming as well.
It was terrible, wasn't it?
We going to move on because I just realised, we're running out of time. Which is good, which is always a good thing. It's always good to be, I mean, to be fair, Shane can confirm this, but it's been quite some time since we've ever had a guest that has been sort of like, you know, a bit of a dragged out conversation, and not but by any means the guest hasn't been interesting. It's just when sometimes when you're talking to other people and you don't really know what to talk about, you're kind of like, oh crap, I don't want to for the sake of content drag it out.
They're just not as interesting as me, and that's okay.
Yeah, that I was just thinking that myself. But it's been like well over a year since that, I think. But we
Yeah.
are going to we're going to finish off with a few questions that have been sent, and you put up on your story. You put up in your story for any questions for the podcast, and I'm going to read out what you got.
Terrible questions, all of them, weren't they?
There was quite. You only sent over a few, but that is because the rest of the questions, as you said, was quite terrible. One question that I think you mentioned just before we came on the show was, what is the female version of a yup bro?
So, yup bros are completely they're gender forward. So is that what you call it? So they're, yup bro can be a girl as well. It's a state of mind. Actually, I have seen yup bros who are bigger yup bros who are girls than guys.
Okay.
But they have to wear caps. So I was thinking, like, it's not a yup broette, because it ruins the yup bro is real punchy and it says everything it needs to say. It
has to be a dark color, like gray, black are the only two colors that can really work with the yup bro.
Yeah, and the person has to have a bit of grit in them.
Yeah.
So that's all you need. So yeah, a yup bro is a guy or a girl or whatever.
A question from I'm not even going to ask their names or say their names because I don't actually know. But what's your thoughts on the stigmatization and legalization of hash?
Yeah. So obviously I'm all for civil liberty, which is why I think we should legalize hash but keep weed illegal. And the reason for that is because people who love hash aren't really annoying. They just keep it to themselves. Whereas people who immerse themselves in weed culture are always really fucking annoying. And like, I say this as somebody who used to smoke a lot, and haven't in a couple of years now. But even at the time, I hated people who were, who would smoke and they'd be like, yeah, legalization is on the way. It's like, just fucking
smoking. Shut up.
It's not gonna stop you smoking it. Just go to your fucking. Just play your bongo in peace there. I always felt like, if we do legal, because obviously I think, I believe, like, even though it might not be for everyone, like, it's not for me, I believe that drugs should all be legal except weed, because if they were, you just know the weed culture people would be so fucking smug about it. So just for that reason, I think people who are caught with like a gram of weed should actually just be given death.
Right. Interesting take, I guess. People might not agree with you, but each to their own. A question from, I believe his name is Tiernan. Wants to know, Meditations, can you solve the housing crisis for us?
Obviously. The thing about the housing crisis, people keep calling it a crisis, but I don't really see what the fuss is about. Everyone, like, with our whole culture is, this whole culture of we're not good enough. Like you were talking about, Podge, we compare ourselves to other people. The only thing we have going for us is our high rent prices. So I think we should keep the rent high because, look, did you ever hear that phrase, look good to feel good? So I think we need to keep it high, if not make it higher. Because, it just, like, Dublin is really a VIP place and we need to feel exclusive and luxurious. And also, if the rent gets lower, then what the fuck am I going to talk about?
I mean, again, very interesting take on the crisis. But, appreciate the take as well. It's something that we should consider. We should bring to or we should at least bring to our leaders.
You were like, fuck, don't agree with him too much then.
Yeah. Final question, Frankie. What's the thing we need to get up out of it?
so this world that we're living in, people make up bullshit words like postmodernism, which basically just means nothing, and nobody actually knows what that word means, but they just say it to sound good, like I am now.
What's it? Hold on. Postmodern. I want to actually get the definition. It's a broad movement and development in the mid to late 20th century across philosophy and the arts, architecture, and criticism, making a departure from modernism. The term has been more generally applied to describe a historical era said to follow after modernity and the tendencies of this era.
So basically, postmodernism or postmodernity is after modernity. We could have guessed that, and it also just says nothing. But so like that, the Google doesn't even know what it means. you know people who. Oh, anyway. Yeah. So the whole thing what postmodernism is, and I'm gonna butcher it here, is basically people create their own reality. So I think with get up out of that. It's like get up out of what? Like it's different. It's going to be different for everyone, you know. Like my that might be different to your that, but you know it's our that.
I like
at the end of the day.
It's like I'm doing verbs in Irish or Spanish or something. Yours, mine, ours, his, hers, ours.
But you know what I mean? The division between me, you, and Simon.
Shit.
Only joking, Shane. Only joking. I hope
April Fools.
Yeah. But the divisions, they're just an illusion. Really, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's not my waddy or your waddy. It's our waddy. Peace. I'm just gonna hang up now. I'm just gonna.
What a way to end the podcast. Anyways, it's not your waddy. It's not my waddy. It's our waddy. Words to live by. I want that. I want that on my tombstone when I die. If I die, because
actually we have like equal chances of dying at the same time. Although you exercise and I don't, so something really tragic might happen to me. Let's hope it won't.
I could exercise one day and go for a run and run into a moving or oncoming bus. So technically, I'm actually making the risk of that higher. So if we reduce the statistics of those who die in an exercise accident, like what if I'm doing weights one day and the weight lands on my head?
That'd be pretty good going. I know we have to go now, but I just want to tell you before we finish. You just reminded me of something. Do you ever see people who like skip out in front of traffic? Like you know, just for a buzz, like as in, I don't know, maybe somebody will relate to this, but from a young age, I used to play this game when I'd cross the street where like there'd be a car really close and I'd be like, run out in front of it, and I'd just miss the car, but it was like a game. It was like I don't know if it was OCD or whatever, but it was like
I think that's like attempted suicide, no?
Oh no, because I always thought it was smarter than the car, so that was the main thing. You know, like people in cars aren't real.
Yeah, they're self-driving. They've been self-driving since the 1960s, and it's just all a lie.
Yeah.
And we live in this. We don't actually have parents who drive us to places either.
We don't actually have parents.
We're born in a tube. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah. Elon Musk is my dad.
Thank you very much for joining me today. If people don't know who you are, or you know, as always, where would you direct them to first?
So Instagram, Meditations for the Anxious Mind. I'm on YouTube as well under the same name, and Instagram or whoops, TikTok, Meditations for the Anxious. Podge, thanks so much for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, man. And if you do want to get in touch with the podcast, Podge the podcast.ie or Podge Henry on all socials. Thank you very much for listening, and until next week, goodbye and God bless. And then everyone claps.
Yeah.